Hey y'all, welcome to Spirit Tea Talks podcast with your spiritual big sis, Sin from Divine Hoops. Join me to spill the hottest spiritual tea about co-creation, Santísima Muerte, readings, healing, and everything else you can think of. I'm here to inspire you and help you tap into your most authentic and divine self. So join me in this walk of life and know that you're not alone in this spiritual awakening. To be in the know or learn more, follow me on Instagram at Divine Hoops. I have also resurfaced my apothecary, which has now been officially moved to divinehoops.com. For more insight, longer episodes, and behind the scenes, make sure to join my Patreon. See y'all soon. Hey y'all, welcome back to Spirit Tea Talks podcast with your spiritual big sis, Sin. Okay, welcome to our ghoulish, divine, mystical, fuck around and find out soul fam. I am so enchanted to have you here. If you're new here and if you're coming back, hello, welcome back. Get yourself a chair, get your tarot cards, get your tea brewing, okay, or coffee, because lately for me it's been coffee. I don't know about y'all, but I need to get back on my teas because this coffee has me on a chokehold. And if y'all don't know, at HEB they have like this dulce de leche kind of like coffee, and it's mommy's favorite. So we've been indulging in the coffee. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and brew me some coffee right now too. But what's fucking poppin', y'all? Okay, I'm gonna get right into the shits of it because I need to talk about it. I think it's much needed to kind of just jump into it. For starters, starting June 1st, I'm officially like full-time on business code. All right, so this next week, and I'm finishing up some work. Am I finishing up some work? I think I am for the most part, but I am touching base with like my website and updating everything for y'all. So we'll be back into the groove of it all. I am doing officially like phone call readings more often. So that's going to be opening up. I'm literally taking 6 spots a day, which now 30-minute phone calls are going to be $25. An hour phone call is going to be $45. For Santa Muerte, anything, it's going to be $88. It's still going to be my platicas, but it's no longer $125 to do the platicas. It's going to be $88. How great is that? And if you do consistent platicas with me, you'll get discounts and you'll get, a little bit more oomph added to it. So I'm so excited. I told y'all that this summer I was cooking something up and it's time for me to get back into it. I was doing this part-time and I've been feeling this pull of like getting back into it full time. So we're back in business. So that was one thing. Okay, that was one thing. Let me just say something else. I know a lot of you have seen that I've been in my microdosing journey. I would try to talk about it in the last episode, but I wasn't complete with my 30-day microdosing journey. I wanted to wait until I was fully done with my 30 days to obviously talk about it and give you guys the gist of it all. So I'm gonna let y'all into what this journey was about. For starters, I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I've always been very not weary about it, but I was never in the right headspace to do drugs. And you always hear like, if obviously, especially when it comes to mushrooms, right? Like you shouldn't trip if you're not in the right state of mind. And then I've heard like, no, I was in a really heavy space of mind and it helped me heal, etc., etc. So you hear consistently different things about, tripping. However, I've always been one, if you guys know me by now, I'm always one to want to heal and use the resources that Mother Earth has for us, such as like Mary Jane. Obviously, during the time that I was constantly using Mary Jane, it was not for higher purposes or for more insight and being more in tune. It was more to numb out, right? I think we can all relate to that extent, that a lot of us that have been smoking or that used to smoke, we used it as more a substance abuse. And that's why, Mary Jane gets the reputation that she does, but it's usually us individuals how we abuse it and use it. So during the times that I used to, and that was fucking years and years and years ago, I used to be called 420 when I was a bartender. So that just goes to show, obviously, I had some sort of foundation with Mary. Okay. But me and Mary split ways. After being in my abusive relationship, I would freak out anytime I would try to. I would freak out and would get into this spiral of what am I doing with him? Why am I in this situation? And then it was during COVID time. So then we had the lockdown. So then the lockdown was happening. So basically it was a horrible experience during this time of just drugs in general, right? So I just went completely sober and I didn't want anything to do with it. I was very adamant of get that away from me. The smell of it even would make me feel uneasy. So I had that type of relationship until I moved to LA. And I was just well, this should be a safe space. Obviously, a lot of people use it here, and you're not going to be stopped or looked at weird if you are smoking it. People are way more open out there in California. So I felt more at ease going to the shops and getting for whatever necessities I needed it for at that time. And, it helped me kind of rethink and reestablish my relationship with Mary. But this is not about her right now. When I was out back in LA, there was an individual who had, mushrooms. And I've always been intrigued, but I've always been told that I shouldn't because I was not in the right headspace and I was going through a lot and et cetera, et cetera. So I always kind of scared away from it because I'm I don't want to be tripping and losing my goddamn mind. I don't want to do that. Who fucking wants that, right? So I kind of just took a little bit, and I felt different the first time that I did it because I didn't do a lot for me to start having a trip. I did enough for me to feel this sort of a high. Not a high. I don't even want to call it a high, but it was just something that made me feel more at ease. And I was just okay, let me look into this. I did my research during the time about microdosing and, the benefits of it all and how it's used even in what is it called? In clinics, but it's called something different. And during the time that, I've mentioned that I've been diagnosed with BPD, borderline personality disorder, they wanted me to do that kind of therapy, but obviously in the clinics and, monitored and stuff like that. But it was so fucking expensive. From what I remember, the last time that we had talked about, I think it was $200 and something per session or something like that. I don't know. It was just during the time that I was diagnosed and I was having to go through all of that, it was just way too fucking expensive to even go to the doctors. It was just too much. It was not in my budget. So yeah. I looked more into it and I was just you know what? This is probably something that would be beneficial for me. So I kind of paused it because I moved and everything else. And as of recently, I was really going through shit. Y'all know, kind of, right? I've been talking about it's just been a heavy couple of months ever since I came back from California. It's just been a wild fucking roller coaster and love and breakups and et cetera, and just life, right? So because I've done so much healing, I was looking into other ways for me to heal. Either get back on medication, which is the last thing I ever wanted to do was to get back on medication. But I was fuck it. If that's what I gotta do, then I'll probably fucking do it just to get my mind right. And again, me being conscious enough and have done so much shadow work and so much healing and so much therapy that I'm refusing to self-sabotage, refusing to stay in the darkness, because I've talked about it before. We got to go through it, but just don't stay there too long. And I started feeling that I was in that middle ground of like, you hear about like the little devil on my left shoulder and the angel on my right? And that's kind of what it was starting to feel like, of the devil or whatever saying like, stay in the darkness, and then you have the white light saying like, no, don't stay here too long, go through it, stay here, but don't stay too long, like this is not where you belong. And I was at that level of trying to figure it out, and I knew right away that I was just like, I need to do something about it, because if I don't, I'm gonna stay in this situation where it's going to be harder for me to get out of. And I've worked so hard in my therapy and my devotion and just everything for me to just not fail, but go backwards. And again, this situation that like I was encountering, I don't think I'm going to ever really talk about it because it's too much. Letting go of someone that you've known half of your life and loved half of your life, it's tough. So I was just kind of spiraling and just really feeling things out and just life in general. But again, I did my research and I somehow stumbled upon a TikTok about microdosing. And I was just like, oh my God, that's right. Like, I wanted to microdose last year, so maybe now I can get back into it. I am well more financially stable. I can figure some shit out, right? And this girl is talking about her microdosing journey and just kind of talking about it. And then I ended up going on the website, reading more about it, and I was just like, fuck it, what's the worst that could happen, right? I'm not on medication, so it can't clash. And I was on that brick of like, I have to get medicated. I need to, it got so bad, y'all. And this is just me being really transparent, right? It got so bad that I was just like, I want to go numb, because the only way, and that's how I thought that the only way for me to get out of this shithole feelings and this depressive episode was for me to go numb. And that would be the only way for me to get through life back again, get back on my spiritual business, get back on doing my daily routines, getting back to my self-care, getting back into just who I am as an individual, right? And I was really convinced at that time that like I just need to go numb, or I need to go through like an adrenaline junkie high. We had booked to go skydiving. I was booking a shit ton of vacations for the summer, and I mean, that was I don't want to use the word it was helping, but it was getting me somewhere, okay, that obviously was needed for me to like not stay in this like funk. What I referred to back is to if you guys ever read the Twilight books or watched Twilight, when like Edward like broke up with Bella, and Bella was dissociating for those 4 months, and she just sat there, right? I know when I first read this book, I believe I was in the 10th grade, and I remember thinking like, damn, that can't be real. I think it was like 4 to 6 months. I was like, that cannot be real. And then she finally kind of like snapped out of it, and she started searching for like a journal, like an adrenaline drive, right? That she got into the motorcycle with a random man, and then she ended up jumping off of a cliff because she wanted to feel something. She went numb for so long and dissociated for so long that she just wanted to fucking feel something. And obviously that was not in the best way or the healthiest way. Anyways, that's what I related back to, because that's exactly how the fuck I was feeling, of like I need something, but obviously was not healthy. Anyways, I say all of that to get into this basis of the mushrooms. So I placed my order with Golden Rule, and by the way, y'all can get 10% off using the code Cynthia10. at checkout to get 10% off. And yeah, okay, I'll talk more about all of that. But yes, so I ended up going with Golden Rule. They have amazing products, and they walk you through like the microdosing journey, how to go about it, how to do it. So I ended up doing the 30 days because obviously if anything, y'all have heard me talk about like consistency is key, and this is the same bias of like you gotta be consistent with this as well in order for it to take effect. And I'm all for it. I wanted to do the 30 days to get into this role of like, okay, I gotta do it. I gotta see what this is about and if it's going to be helpful. Because if not, then at that point, I'll be getting back into maybe like getting back into medication, right? And there's nothing wrong. If you're on medication, there's nothing wrong with it. I, however, try to do things a little bit more holistic. And because of my therapist also being more of a holistic mentor, it kind of gives me a little bit more sense of what to do and how to go about it. Anyways, so I started with Zen, which, by the way, y'all, like, Golden Rule has a lot of great information, and it tells you where to begin, and is usually at 125 milligrams to start off, because the lower the dosage, the better. So then you can build your tolerance up. You don't ever want to start super, super high, because then, you know, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of microdosing and enjoying the effects that it takes. So I, however, obviously didn't read all the way through. I was just kind of reading through their products, and I was just like, oh, I need Zen. Zen, it was for grounding and just kind of keeping you more at base. And I needed that because I needed to stop spiraling. I needed to stop looking for an adrenaline high, and I needed to be more grounded. And as always, for me personally, I go based off of the chakras and see, like, obviously it's always starting with the root. The root helps us with our sacral, with our heart, with our third eye, our crown. So I want to make sure that my root chakra was not blocked anymore. So I started with Zen, but that was at 250 milligrams. So the first week, I was not in complete darkness. I was kind of going through it, but not as much. So the first week was just like, okay, this is good. You don't trip out. So I was still able to do my everyday things, you know, drive, eat, get into like my work schedules and all of that. So it doesn't make you trip. It does do something, and I can't put a finger on it quite yet of what it does. I want to say it's more like a mental or body high. I feel like it was just all connected. That's just what it felt like. It felt like everything was just really connected. And the first week went by, and I'm just like, okay, so I'm doing the 4-3 method. So I'm taking the shrooms for 4 days and then taking a break for 3 days. Now those 3 days, I was off of them. I'm like, okay, because again, I'm in a very dark place. I'm like, I need something. Still looking for that adrenaline high for something, right? And then by the second week, that's when I was already going through separations and kind of letting go and detaching and all of that. But I was already working on the I can't even say it. I was already working on the detachment part for about a month. But that second week that I was microdosing, that's when things started to really spiral, and I was really just down and out. And anyways, the shrooms helped me stay focused and stay grounded. And the second week is when I started to really feel the effects of, oh wow, like, because they talk about it, like, make sure that you're, you know, to really enhance it and to really work with the shrooms, make sure that you're eating healthy, that you're working out, that you're being out in nature. And that second week, I started feeling the effects of, like, I need to be outside. I don't want to eat any more processed food. I need to get back into cooking. it was, I don't want to say it was like a full 180, but it was getting there to where I've been wanting to get at. Third week comes by and I am yearning for Mother Earth. I mean, I don't know if she was yearning for me and I was yearning for her, or vice versa, or both. You know, like, it was this yearning feeling of I need to be outside. And then the purple aspect of Santa Muerte was coming through during my microdosing. Like, she was really present and guiding me to heal and to stay grounded and to watch for my health. So working with the purple Santa Muerte during this time as I'm microdosing, because every time that you take it every morning, you have to put your intention into why you want out of this experience. So third week comes and I am in a whole zone where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to cook at home. I'm going out for walks in the mornings. I need to dedicate myself completely and fully and internally to like my spiritual work now. Like, I got the sense of what it was to do it part-time. I don't like it. I want to get back into it. And it made me get back into focus, like complete and utter fucking focus. And I was just like, okay, I like this. Like, this is what it's about. So I'm starting to get hyped. That's when I had released the last episode. And this week has been officially my 30 days. And let me tell y'all that I have put in my order for my second dosage to do the 60 days because it has been life-changing. I don't know how else to say it, but life-changing. Whatever is being rewired in my brain, and y'all know that I love the brain and I love to investigate it and learn about it. And I was going to school, and I'm actually going back to school for getting my degree in psychology. So I am enjoying the clarity of it, because a month ago, especially 3 weeks ago, I was really, really sad and depressed and just feeling that there was no end to it. I was not focused enough, and the shrooms allowed me to refocus, to stay grounded, to stay headstrong. And this is also to say that this is just an add-on of what I already do, which is my therapy, my shadow work, my spiritual work. I do this on a consistent basis. Now I'm getting back into like mind, body, soul, and spirit, right? I was needing something to get my body out of this discomfort, and getting back into a routine, working out helps with that. But I feel like the shrooms was such a motherly presence, and I feel like that's the only way I can really describe it. It was like a motherly presence of like, come on now, like you gotta do this, and being connected with Mother Earth. And then having Santísima, it was just like this huge motherly embodiment that was happening, and it was so fucking needed. So I really advise for y'all to look into it, and especially if you're not already on medication and you don't want to be on medication, you kind of want to do more of the holistic side, definitely look into it. I know that for my Zen, it was only lion's mane and the psilocybin obviously in there. So yeah, one thing for sure, like you're hearing me say, like, you're not on medication. If you are on medication, please talk to your doctor about looking into it, because my therapist, I was telling her, I was like, maybe I should get back into medication, and like still in the process of like thinking like I should completely kind of still numb myself out a little bit more. And she was just like, but you're microdosing. And I was just like, yeah. She was just like, I don't know. She was like, I'm not like a psychiatrist or a doctor in that sorts. She was just like, but I would look into it because it can take a different effect. And that like made sense to me, because even in Golden Rule, they tell you that like certain things may, you know, kind of just keep an eye out, like even teas and stuff like that. Vitamins, I know that there's a certain vitamin that I cannot take while I'm on the shrooms. I learned it the hard way because I threw it up. So I had to look into PRS Wellness. He's also somebody that I post on my social media. His name is Justin R. Kelly, and he is not only a fine ass man, but he's also all about holistic and vitamins and getting you right. And I learned a lot about my vitamin intake. So I actually ordered some of his drops for me to use. So I'm so excited. It's like everything all at once, and I'm so here for it. But again, talk to your doctor about wanting to microdose before you do, because I don't want it to take a weird ass effect on you. Also, take care of yourself. You know, you're responsible for what you put in your body. But with that, all that being said, I have become affiliated with Golden Rule. I'm one of their ambassadors now. So you guys can use the code Cynthia10 for 10% off all of your orders. And I'm also running a deal these next 30 days. Whoever places an order and uses my code, make sure to screenshot it. Let me know that you used my code, and I will be adding you to a raffle of a Santa Muerte statue. And I'm also doing resin art this weekend. So whatever resin art I end up doing, I will also be raffling that off. So make sure to look into it. They also have chocolates, they have gummies. And again, I would just advise to start with, I believe it's called The Teacher, because that's for like beginners. They have a beginner guide and everything. Look into it. I will be posting more, obviously, videos. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to let me know on Instagram, and I will be posting more about it. But again, this journey has been incredible. I ordered my second batch, and it's going to be here tomorrow, which is like perfect timing for how I calculated it all to happen. They also have like subscriptions, like monthly subscriptions. If you're like me though, I like to explore my options. I don't like to stay with just one. So I would just advise, if you are a person that is really interested and like wants to get into just changing your brain chemicals and using Mother Earth, this is a great fucking product. I use the 4-3 method. They also have a different method that you can use if you don't want to do a full 30 days, but it still could be helpful for you. I would just highly recommend it. I've been telling all my friends about it, and my family, because seeing where I was at just literally 3 weeks ago, it has helped. Not that I don't have bad days, obviously we're human, but it has allowed me to remain focused and more into the bigger picture of it all. Again, this has motivated me to just get back onto doing this full time and be more creative with everything. There's also one that's for like creative flow, which is going to be my third batch. So July is going to be popping, because if I'm gonna be in those type of like shrooms, I cannot wait to see what great ideas I'll have in store for y'all. But again, make sure to use code Cynthia, CYNTHIA 10 to get 10% off your orders. And who doesn't like a fucking discount, right? I saw this. There's been already some of you that use the referral link. The referral link right now is not working because, again, now I'm an ambassador. So we're working on a brand new link for y'all to use. But for now, just use the code Cynthia10 at checkout to get 10% off. And I'm so excited this is probably, besides Amazon, because I feel like Amazon was the first one, besides Anchor, when I was my podcast like getting paid. That's exciting. But to have a brand to use, this is probably my first brand to be an ambassador. So let's get this rolling. Let's go ahead and use that code and let me know. Screenshot it. Be in the raffle. If you don't want the raffle and you just want something out of it, I'm going to work on something. I need all of you for these next 30 days to just go ahead and order something, get something going, and see how this like microdosing journey, especially right now, summertime, that we get to be outside and we get to be with the sun and everything else, all of that great stuff. Also, what do y'all think about me talking about the elites and all of that? I know that before y'all wanted me to do that, but things are getting hot and heavy, and I want to start doing predictions. What do y'all think? Maybe I should do that? I don't know. All right, y'all. Well, this was just a little microdosing journey and just talking about the effects of it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.